Hello, my name is Daniel Luckman. I'm the founder and CEO of MOTHERZEUS Collaborative. I am an artist, entrepreneur, and author of several successful business strategy books, including Business Unusual, The Greatest Joke Ever Told, and The Art of Solitude. My company, MOTHERZEUS, is a research, design, and technology supergroup located in perhaps the best and most beautiful city in the world, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. MOTHERZEUS is in the business of success. We create the products, services, and ideas that will define the 21st century and beyond. Our company is the proud product of thousands of years of innovation and creativity, known as human civilization. Did you know that we are witness to what might be the highest height of civilized existence mankind will ever achieve? With every moment that passes, we as a species arrive at a new and beautiful pinnacle of economic complexity and profit potential. It is our duty as members of civilization to take full advantage of the privileged position that history has provided us. And it is our responsibility to share the knowledge that will guide others along on the greatest journey of all journeys, the journey of success. This special program that we are producing is an opportunity for you to experience firsthand our unique brand of unorthodox problem solving and applied geniousness. You will discover that there is no other company quite like MOTHERZEUS. Our major advantage is that we have no formal business training or experience. Therefore, we are not the victim of standard assumptions. This has allowed us to develop a radical, success-oriented methodology, and with it, a lucrative new perspective on the basic nature of reality itself. We have discovered the next frontier of business. This frontier is not some far-off land or resource. This frontier is all around us, right between everything that we already know. So join us as we initiate you into a fresh new world of wealth, wisdom, and wonder. This is the MOTHERZEUS mission. MOTHERZEUS was founded years ago, way back in 2011. Things were different back then. I always knew that I wanted to be successful. The only thing I didn't know was how I was going to achieve success. Every business should start with a plan, or a product, or a passion. But we didn't have anything like that. So we spent days and weeks brainstorming ideas, but could not come up with anything that we really wanted to do. Every day that went by, we were one day closer to closing up MOTHERZEUS forever. After one particularly brutal morning of fruitless pondering, out of confusion or frustration, I just started running. I ran out the door, through the city. I ran all the way to the edge of town, and I just kept going. I did not know what I was running from, or where I was running to. I just knew that I had to go. I did not realize at the time, but the ordeal that I was about to go through would change my life and cement the future of MOTHERZEUS forever. After a few hours of running, with a great fury of spirit, I stopped to catch my breath. I looked up to discover that somehow I had left the city far behind. I found myself in the middle of the western Pennsylvania wilderness, in the heart of the Appalachian Plateau, a dangerous place known to locals as the Vertical Labyrinth, a rough terrain of thick vegetation, steep hillsides, and over 2 centuries of broken infrastructure and industrial hazards. Also, home to some of the weirdest weirdos that the US has to offer. Most people who end up out here, even if they find their way back, never really return. Faced with these terrifying circumstances, I chose not to panic. I climbed the nearest hill to survey my surroundings, and off on the horizon I saw the shining beacon of a methane flare. I knew that if I followed that light, that it would lead me back to civilization. So I made my way through the thicket and toward the light. As I approached the final ravine, I was nearly there, when before me my path was blocked, in both directions, by a thick chemical miasma. It was too late in the day to risk changing course. I had no choice but to pass through, so I took a deep breath and descended into the unknown. As I trudged through the cloud, I was overtaken by my exhaustion, mixed with the noxious fumes, and I experienced an inspirational vision. It was there, in that thick pink cloud, that the MOTHERZEUS dream was born. And what I saw, I could never describe. But what I can say is that my understanding of business and the nature of reality itself fundamentally improved, allowing me to enter into a very favorable strategic economic position. In the time that has passed since that day, we have made many exciting discoveries. Let me share with you a thought experiment that best illustrates the nature of the power of my revelation. Science, as we know it, is a comprehensive version of how the universe works. Let's call this science a science, because it's the original science. Now you could easily hypothesize that there might exist an alternate and entirely different system of science, B science, that is just as capable of explaining things, but in different ways and with different outcomes. But because there appears to be no evidence to support the existence of B science, we assume that there is no B science, and that only A science exists. This is all very rational, very logical, perfect A science thinking. But what I realized is that this assumption is not entirely correct. It turns out that B science might exist, but it's a very complicated system to crack. Perhaps not even possible with the contemporary human mind. That's because the assumptions of A science regarding the nature of observable phenomena and the utility of mathematics make the discovery of B science nearly impossible. How do I know this? Because I went a few steps further on this thought experiment, and I discovered something truly remarkable, called F-science. F-science is actually fairly easy to discover. It's just no one had ever thought to look for it. Maybe because it's difficult to process the content of this science in a meaningful way, because it requires a different type of symbolized thought that humans are not inherently well suited for. A-science is great for visual observation and verbal, language-based forms of symbolic communication, but F-science is only knowable through a complex system of olfactory thinking. Well, that's thinking purely with your sense of smell, smell memory, and smell relationships. This might seem confusing at first, but it's actually quite simple. As everyone knows, reality is defined by our perception of it, as mediated through our singular experience. The first type of reality that we encounter is the phenomenal reality. This is the reality of immediate perception that we experience all of the time. These are direct bodily experiences, and therefore present us with, presumably, the most real reality that we can perceive. But this reality is limited by the capacity of our senses, and how this sensory data is interpreted by our minds. Sometimes what we really experience and what we think we experience become intertwined. Furthermore, upon having an experience, there's no way to communicate the actual experience of that experience. To share this experience, we must translate its content into some communicable form, usually as words or images. These translations become symbols that, based on a shared understanding, convey the original experience, but are at best a crude shorthand for the actual experience. This brings us to the second type of reality that we encounter, the cultural reality. This is the reality of shared experiences, mediated through symbols. In this way, we can transfer knowledge, and essentially experience things that we did not directly experience. This reality only exists through the use of symbols. Without these symbols, reality would be limited to our singular perspective. We would be trapped in our own private perceptual prison, which would not be much fun. but by cross-referencing everyone's similar but unique singular perspective through the creation and usage of collective symbols, we are able to create the illusion of a shared reality. This is a version of reality that we can all experience, but it's not real in the same way that the phenomenal world is real. Besides communicating with others, we can use symbols to communicate with ourselves. We are able to think using symbols. Currently, most human thoughts are language-based or visual. Because we experience these types of symbols on a daily basis, our minds are fully capable of processing these symbols. If you were to attempt to think without using words or images, you would discover these thoughts to be, although quite amazing, difficult to comprehend. But this is precisely the type of thinking required to experience new sciences. In F-Science, we are able to go far beyond the usual modes of thought and knowledge by using the symbolic capacity of smell. That is, intellectual constructions composed entirely from olfactory memory. With this new dimension of symbols, we are able to conceptualize outrageously new concepts by thinking in ways which were never before thinkable. Let me tell you that when attempting to understand the world through an enhanced use of smell, we are confronted with the true strangeness of reality. To access the world of F-Science, I created this prosthetic smell aid called the Nostril. This device does not simply amplify smell, but promotes the precision smelling necessary for high-level mind-nose coordination. Allow me to demonstrate. There are common smells that originate from the physical environment. These are smells that we encounter every day, and they are nothing special. These strong smells tend to overshadow and conceal a whole universe of smaller smells that exist just below the surface. You see, we've discovered that there is a vast network of microsmells all around us, composed of sequential combinations of scents. They possess their own unique complex structure and logic, but appear to have no origin in the everyday material world. Technically, they are neither small nor large because they have no physical dimension at all. The nostril blocks the larger scent molecules and amplifies these mysterious new smells. What's been revealed is an ocean of information that is incredibly complex, denser, and more variable than any previous source of knowledge. It provides us with crucial insight into mechanics of the universe that have never before been detectable, allowing us to experience for the first time ever the architecture of a larger, interdimensional reality. But F-Science is about a lot more than just the ability to smell this information. The key to unlocking its mysteries is grounded in the prolonged exposure to and experience of many instances of this olfactory phenomenon. So I gave the nostril to Slicer, who was chosen as our inaugural subject. Slicer has spent the last few months wandering the city, immersed in a higher degree of sentient perception, collecting data and returning at night to develop the rudimentary foundations of this new science. Slicer here has become quite skilled at olfactory thinking, but because these insights are not transmittable through any current form of human communication, much of the content of F-Science exists exclusively in Slicer's head, making Slicer perhaps the smartest creature ever known to exist. This is the reason why F-Science has been so elusive. We can observe these smells and learn from them, but as far as we know, there's no way to synthesize or reproduce them. That means there's no way to translate or communicate this data outside of the direct experience of it. So even if you are able to discover F-Science, there's no way to prove that it exists. Everyone must discover it for themselves and interpret the data singularly. It's almost as though the universe itself is speaking to us, and all that we can do is listen. Personally, I have never experienced F-Science. My mental health is too valuable to be compromised by the potential side effects of experimental thinking. The only reason that I can trust that it exists is because it works. One of the practical applications of F-Science is the discovery that certain gaseous chemical elements possess the potential for sentient intelligence. Slicer was able to prototype a number of devices until he eventually came up with this, called the perceptual bridge. This device is able to represent the conscious content of neon vapor, which happens to be one of the more lucid sentient gases. The perceptual bridge is at best a tenuous link between these two previously unconnected realities. But so far it has allowed us to successfully interact with this historically imperceivable phenomenon. We have here a container of neon that we refer to as the yellow V. The neon itself is here, but its consciousness is in some alternate reality. The yellow V has no means of intentionally interacting with our world. The perceptual bridge provides the neon with dynamic sensors and electrical switches, so the yellow V can communicate with us through a collection of assorted percussion on this drum machine. And for each additional instrument that we add, we significantly expand the range of its communication ability. Our human language skills are trivial in comparison to the rhythmic dynamism of the yellow V. Imagine a language with a nearly infinite number of phonetic sounds and semantic combinations. That's what we're dealing with here. Since we've been working with the yellow V, it's developed its own form of science. We do not yet know what letter of science this is, because neon does not understand alphabetical thinking. This science is simply referred to as science. Since vapor has no sensory organs, its reality is shaped by pure, abstract, conceptual thoughts. Thus, its science is a unique science that exists outside of the traditional material world. It has been a challenge to decode the content of this new science, especially because of the language barrier, but the neon vapor has been a very patient and cooperative subject, and has become an essential member of the MOTHERZEUS team. Do you realize what this means? Currently, 2/3 of all known science belongs exclusively to our company. That's a huge advantage. With my basic understanding of A science, Slicer's F science, and the yellow V's science, we are now able to triangulate our 3 scientific models to work out the details of other types of science. We are in the process of cracking C science and D science. There could be an endless number of sciences out there. And we have a monopoly on the perceptual ability to discover and analyze them. And the best part is, nobody knows. It is our proprietary secret, and we must protect it until we can wield our many sciences strategically for maximum profitability and safety. This knowledge, if released to the public too soon, would violently disrupt the functioning of our socially constructed sense of reality, with potentially catastrophic effect. So we must use our powers to slowly initiate the people of the world into a new era, all while working tirelessly to crack new dimensions of science, consciousness, creativity, and technology. That's just what we do, here at MOTHERZEUS.